The first time I saw the laboratory, I felt a chill run down my spine. Its walls gleamed white under the bright fluorescent lights, and strange instruments lined the shelves, humming softly, almost as if they were alive. My name is Evan. I'm 22, and until that day, my life had been ordinary in every possible way. I had always been curious but cautious. Studying in a quiet town, working part-time at the local bookstore, I had routines, predictable habits, and a small circle of friends. But curiosity has a way of dragging you into places you never imagined. And when Dr. Harrington, the enigmatic scientist everyone whispered about, sent me a letter inviting me to participate in an experiment, I couldn't resist. The letter promised a life-changing experience and an opportunity to explore new aspects of yourself. I laughed nervously when I read it at home, half convinced it was a prank. But something in his signature, calculated, confident, and somehow familiar, made me believe it was real. That evening, I arrived at the lab. The receptionist barely looked up, and Dr. Harrington appeared from a side corridor with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Evan," he said, shaking my hand firmly. "You're punctual. I like that." His voice was smooth, persuasive, and disarming at the same time. The lab smelled faintly of antiseptic and something chemical, almost metallic. Machines whirred quietly in the background, and I could hear faint beeps, like the heartbeats of the experiments conducted here. I followed Dr. Harrington into a smaller room lined with mirrors, soft lights, and tables covered in fabrics, wigs, and clothing I didn't recognize immediately. "This is where the transformation begins," he said. His tone was gentle but carried authority. "You will experience a change, Evan, but only if you are willing to embrace it fully. You must trust me." I felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. My pulse quickened, my stomach twisted with anticipation. I had always admired those who could step outside themselves, who could explore new identities, new versions of who they were. And now I was being invited to do just that. Dr. Harrington handed me a delicate garment. It shimmered under the light, soft and silky. "Put this on," he instructed. My hands trembled as I touched it. I could feel the smoothness, the warmth of the fabric against my skin. It was unlike anything I had ever worn. I looked at him, uncertain. "Are you sure this is safe?" I whispered. He smiled, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "Trust me, Evan. This is the beginning of your new self. Sometimes, change is the only way to truly see who you are." As I stepped behind the folding screen to change, I felt a strange thrill. Fear, curiosity, and excitement mingled into a cocktail of emotions that made my hands shake. I removed my ordinary clothes carefully, holding the silky fabric to my chest, feeling its weight, its potential. When I finally slipped into it, the garment hugged me in ways that were unfamiliar and exhilarating. The mirror reflected a new figure, a version of me that was softer, more delicate, more vulnerable. My breath caught. I barely recognized the person staring back. Dr. Harrington's voice broke the silence. "Good. That's the first step. Embrace it. See it. Feel it." I nodded, swallowing hard. My heart raced as I looked again into the mirror. The reflection didn't just show a new outfit or a new appearance, it revealed a new possibility. And somehow, deep down, I knew that once I crossed this threshold, nothing in my life would ever be the same. After that first glimpse in the mirror, I felt a strange electricity running through my body. The silky garment clung to my skin in ways I hadn't expected, soft yet firm, shaping me into someone entirely unfamiliar. I tried to steady my breath, but every heartbeat seemed amplified in the quiet of the lab. Dr. Harrington watched me intently, his expression neutral, yet full of subtle expectation. "Do you feel it?" he asked softly. "This is more than clothes. This is a transformation of perception. You will not just look different, you will experience yourself differently." I nodded hesitantly, unsure of what he meant, but already feeling a shiver of anticipation. He guided me to a chair in front of a large mirror, and my eyes fell upon the array of items laid out. Wigs in different shades, shoes, subtle accessories, and jars of creams and powders I had never used before. "Let's start," he said. "Choose the first element that speaks to you." I reached for a soft chestnut wig, the strands silky and surprisingly lifelike. My hands trembled as I lifted it, brushing it against my cheeks and running my fingers through the strands. The wig had an odd power. Simply holding it made my pulse quicken. Carefully, I placed it on my head, adjusting it until it settled perfectly. The mirror reflected a new me, my face framed by cascading waves of chestnut hair, eyes slightly more defined, lips softer. I barely recognized myself, yet a small, thrilling part of me whispered, "This is right." Next came makeup. I had never worn it before, except in playful experiments with friends who joked about trying on a new identity. But this was serious, deliberate, transformative. I dabbed a light foundation onto my skin, blending it meticulously. A soft blush highlighted my cheekbones, subtle eyeshadow enhanced my gaze, and a light coat of lip balm brought a gentle sheen to my lips. Each motion was precise, deliberate, yet carried an underlying thrill I could not deny. Dr. Harrington observed silently. "Notice how each choice changes your perception of yourself. The garments, the colors, the textures, they all contribute to the experience. Transformation is not just visual, it is emotional, mental, and physical." I shivered, feeling the words resonate deeply. It wasn't just the exterior changing. I felt lighter, yet more vulnerable, stronger, yet fragile. The duality unsettled me, but also exhilarated me. Hours passed in a blur of experimentation. I tried different wigs, different outfits, shoes of varying heights and styles. Each shift revealed new facets of myself I had never seen before. One moment, I was Evan, the cautious, ordinary young man. The next, I was someone entirely new, poised and delicate, yet imbued with a strange confidence. I began to notice subtle changes in my posture. I moved differently, walked with a careful grace I had never practiced before. The clothes, the accessories, the carefully chosen colors all seemed to guide my movements, shaping not just my appearance, but the way I felt in my own skin. But with the thrill came tension. Every creak of the lab, every hum of a machine, reminded me that I was in someone else's domain, bound by rules I had barely begun to understand. The fear of exposure, of failing, of making a mistake, mingled with the heady excitement of my transformation. Dr. Harrington returned with a tray of props, mirrors, brushes, and even a small, delicate necklace. "Small details matter," he said. "They anchor you in your new identity. Notice how they make you feel. The reflection you see is only part of the change, the rest comes from within." I fastened the necklace around my neck, feeling its cool metal against my skin. A thrill coursed through me, stronger now, accompanied by a flicker of doubt. Could I ever go back to my old self? Did I even want to? The lab felt smaller now, every shadow more intimate, every sound amplified. I caught myself imagining someone walking in, unexpectedly my parents, a neighbor, anyone, and my heart raced at the thought. I was enjoying the secrecy, the private thrill of being someone new, yet the stakes felt higher than anything I had faced before. By late afternoon, I was fully immersed. The final outfit, a flowing dress in soft lavender, hugged my form delicately. The shoes clicked softly on the floor as I practiced walking, the mirror reflecting someone I was only beginning to recognize as me. My reflection was confident, curious, and yet tinged with vulnerability. I paused in front of the mirror, feeling the weight of my choices. I was transformed not just externally, but internally. Fear, excitement, and exhilaration tangled together in my chest. I realized that once I stepped fully into this identity, I could not retreat without leaving a piece of myself behind. And then, a sudden sound froze me, the faint hum of the lab door. I spun, heart pounding. Was it Dr. Harrington returning? Or someone else? My pulse raced as I crouched slightly, clutching the fabric of my dress, hoping desperately that the experiment's secrecy would remain intact. A shadow moved across the doorway. My breath caught. Every muscle tensed. I had known this risk existed. The thrill of being someone new came with the constant possibility of exposure, but nothing prepared me for the sharp, electric fear of the moment. The shadow stopped just beyond the threshold. I could see a faint silhouette, unmoving, silent, almost watching me. My mind raced, trying to assess, to plan, to hide. I was exhilarated, terrified, alive in a way I had never felt. This was the tipping point. I had embraced the transformation fully, experienced every nuance, every sensation. But the risk, the possibility of being discovered, loomed larger than ever. I knew that beyond this moment, nothing would ever feel ordinary again. The hum of machines seemed louder now, vibrating through the floor and into my chest. I had fully embraced the transformation, slipping seamlessly into this new version of myself, yet something in the back of my mind whispered a warning. Dr. Harrington had been calm, patient, almost encouraging, but the uncertainty of what came next pressed down on me like a heavy weight. I practiced walking again, the soft click of the shoes on the lab floor echoing in the empty room. Every movement felt alien and thrilling. The mirror reflected someone I barely recognized, a figure poised, delicate, and yet undeniably me. And yet, even as I admired the reflection, a cold shiver ran down my spine. Someone was watching. I froze, listening. A faint shift near the entrance caught my attention. My pulse skyrocketed. Could it be Dr. Harrington returning unexpectedly? Or, worse, someone else? My hands trembled as I clutched the soft lavender dress, the silky fabric suddenly feeling too heavy, too real. The door creaked slowly, and I held my breath. A shadow moved across the doorway. My heart thudded in my ears. I wanted to run, hide, anything to avoid being discovered in this vulnerable state, yet a strange part of me hesitated. The reflection in the mirror whispered, "You can face this. You're someone new." The figure stepped into the light. It was Dr. Harrington, but his expression was different, sharper, more serious. "Evan," he said calmly, yet the weight of his gaze made my stomach twist. "It's time to push further. Are you ready?" I nodded, swallowing hard. My voice caught, but I managed a whisper. "Yes, I think so." The truth was, I wasn't sure. My body trembled with anticipation and fear. I had come so far, but what lay ahead was unknown. He guided me to a platform in the center of the room. Soft lights illuminated the space, and the reflection of machines and mirrors created a surreal, almost dreamlike environment. "This is the final stage," he explained. "You will experience the full transformation, both physically and emotionally. But be warned, once you take this step, there is no turning back." My breath caught. The words resonated deeply. I had already changed externally, yet the promise of internal transformation filled me with both dread and excitement. I stepped onto the platform, feeling every nerve alive, every heartbeat amplified. Dr. Harrington handed me a small vial filled with a shimmering liquid. "Drink this," he instructed. "It will finalize the experiment. Your reflection will no longer just be a reflection, it will be reality." I hesitated. The liquid glowed softly, mesmerizing, almost hypnotic. Fear surged. What if something goes wrong? I thought. But the reflection in the mirror, the figure I had come to accept and even admire, pushed me forward. Trembling, I tipped the vial to my lips and swallowed. A sudden warmth spread through my body. My vision blurred, the lights around me bending and swirling. My chest tightened, my legs felt lighter, and yet every movement was electric, almost impossible to control. I clutched the fabric of the dress, the silky threads grounding me even as reality seemed to bend around me. Then, a sharp click, a soft gasp made me spin. Someone was at the lab entrance. My pulse doubled. Fear and thrill collided in a violent storm inside me. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. All I could do was hold my breath and hope. The door opened fully. Clara stood there, eyes wide. My stomach sank. She wasn't supposed to be back yet. My transformation, my secret identity, my new self, it was all exposed in an instant. She gasped again, and the sound seemed impossibly loud in the silent room. "Evan, what happened?" Her voice trembled, a mixture of shock, curiosity, and disbelief. My hands shook as I pressed them against the fabric of the dress. I opened my mouth to speak, to explain, but words failed me. The reflection in the mirror seemed to mock me, daring me to face her fully. And then, the lab door swung open once more. My heart stopped. Mom's voice called from the hallway. "Evan? Clara? I'm home early." Time froze. I felt trapped, exposed, vulnerable, yet exhilarated in a way I had never experienced. My body was still tingling from the experiment, every nerve alive, every emotion amplified. The thrill of secrecy, the fear of discovery, and the intoxicating realization of who I had become collided in a single, unbearable moment. Clara's gaze shifted, realization dawning. My pulse raced faster. Every step I could take, every word I might utter, carried the risk of revealing the full truth of my transformation. I wanted to flee, to hide, yet a part of me resisted. I was no longer just Evan. I was someone new, and hiding that person felt impossible. Dr. Harrington stepped forward, his expression calm but firm. "Evan, you must decide now. Will you embrace this fully, even in the face of exposure? Or retreat and remain the person you were before?" I trembled, heart pounding. The weight of choice pressed down on me. One step forward meant acceptance, revelation, and the unknown consequences of living as someone transformed. One step back meant hiding, fear, and the gnawing regret of not embracing who I could be. The room felt impossibly small. Shadows danced across the walls. The mirror reflected my transformed self, alive, vibrant, and fully real. I could hear my own heartbeat, faster and louder than ever before. Every instinct screamed to move, to act, to choose. And then, a faint, deliberate sound, heels clicking softly on the floor, echoed from the hallway. Mom was closer now, her presence undeniable, her arrival imminent. My pulse soared, adrenaline coursing through every vein. I took a deep breath, gripping the silky lavender fabric. The choice hung before me like a razor's edge. I could no longer remain hidden, yet stepping fully into this new identity would change everything. The room held its breath with me, shadows and reflections waiting, every heartbeat amplified, every second stretching into eternity. And in that moment, I knew my life would never be the same again. The heels clicking in the hallway grew louder, echoing in my chest. My pulse raced, each beat louder than the last. I pressed my hands against the silky lavender fabric, feeling the warmth of the material, the weight of the transformation, and the electric thrill of the secret I had held for hours. Mom's voice called again, closer this time. "Evan, are you in there?" I froze, every muscle tense. Clara's eyes were wide with shock, and I could see the questions dancing across her face: confusion, fear, and something else, something I couldn't name. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, confident and delicate, fully alive, yet vulnerable in ways I had never imagined. Dr. Harrington stepped slightly forward, his calm presence grounding me. "Remember, Evan," he said quietly, "this is your moment. Decide now who you truly want to be. The choice is yours." My mind raced. Every possible scenario flickered through my thoughts, hiding, explaining, fleeing, embracing. Each option carried weight, consequences, and unknown outcomes. And yet, beneath the fear, beneath the adrenaline, I felt a quiet certainty. This new self, this person reflected in the mirror, was not something I could abandon lightly. The door handle turned slowly. My stomach lurched. I could feel Clara stepping back slightly, sensing the tension, knowing the moment had reached its peak. Mom's shadow fell across the threshold. My pulse surged, every nerve alive, every instinct screaming. I took a deep breath, trying to steady the whirlwind of emotion inside me. Heart pounding, hands trembling, I stepped slightly forward. The lavender dress swished softly around my legs. My reflection looked back at me with unwavering clarity. Mom entered, her eyes scanning the room, pausing on Dr. Harrington, then flicking to Clara, and finally settling on me. Evan, what's going on? Her voice was a mixture of surprise, concern, and curiosity. I opened my mouth, but no words came. The transformation had left me speechless, fully present in the new identity I had embraced. The fear of exposure battled with the exhilaration of self-discovery, each emotion striking with equal intensity. Clara stepped closer to Mom, whispering something I couldn't hear. My heart raced faster. This was at the moment when everything could change. Every secret, every choice, every transformation converged into a single, pivotal instant. And then, a sudden knock echoed from the far side of the lab, sharp and deliberate. Both Mom and Clara turned. Dr. Harrington's eyes narrowed, a silent warning in his gaze. I froze. The door trembled under another knock, heavier this time. My pulse thundered. The lab seemed impossibly large and impossibly small all at once. Shadows danced across the walls, reflecting my new self in every mirror. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought focused on the looming unknown. I swallowed hard. My hands gripped the lavender dress tighter. My reflection stared back, fearless and fragile all at once. The knock came again, louder, insistent, as if demanding an answer from all of us. Dr. Harrington stepped closer, voice low. Evan, the choice is yours. Step forward or step back. But know this, whatever happens next will define everything. I took a deep breath, ready to face whatever awaited. The room held its breath with me. Every shadow, every reflection, every heartbeat seemed to pause. And then the story ended, suspended in time, leaving everything unresolved. Who was at the door? How would Mom and Clara react? And most importantly, would I fully embrace the person I had become, or retreat into the safety of the old life? The answers were unknown, hanging in the air like a delicate thread, waiting to be pulled. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What do you think happens next? Who's at the door? Share your predictions in the comments below, and stay tuned for the next chapter of The Doctor's Secret Experiment Turned Me into Someone New Face with Open Mouth Dress.